Growing up, did you ever have that one friend that you had really lofty expectations for? You really thought they were going to be a big star and make a big splash in life, only to find out as an adult, well, they ended up being sort of just like everybody else. Not that being like everybody else is a bad thing, you just had such high hopes for this one. That's how I feel about the all-new Honda Accord for 2014, actually all new in 2013 and unchanged for 2014. It's a perfectly nice car, it's a good car, but I really feel that Honda has lost its way and lost a really wonderful opportunity to set itself apart from the rest of the market. In fact, the prior generation of the Honda Accord was pretty widely panned by the public at large and by the media as well. Just the look, the feel, the personality of the car was left a little bit wanting. And although this is an improvement over the former car, it's a little bit of an improvement instead of something a little bit splashier, something that lives up to what my personal expectations are for the brand. And I've owned every kind of Honda the company's ever had for sale, from a bright white CRX to a bright yellow NSX, from a Prelude to a Accord Coupe to a Legend Coupe. I've had everything that they've ever had for sale. I'm just telling you, this particular Accord is just adequate at best. Let's take a look at the looks of the car. Now, it's not a bad looking car by any stretch of the imagination, but Honda's really lost a lot of its soul. If this car was said Mitsubishi on the back instead of Honda, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. There's nothing that really distinguishes it from what else is out there on the market. And I get what Honda's trying to do. They're trying to make a car for the masses, and they don't want to offend anybody. But by not offending anybody, they've really kind of taken the soul out of the Accord, a car that's probably as widely respected a car over the lifespan of the car as any car that's ever been made. Let's take a look around this particular car, just 6,000 miles and just traded in here at Infiniti of Kirkland. If I take a look inside, one of the things that really jumps out at me initially is the quality of the materials. I look at this kind of faux metal concept that they have on the dash, and it's like, really? I mean, that was the best idea that you could come up with here? And then I look at the cloth, and again, it's like, it really looks like about as cheap a cloth as I've seen in a car in a long time. Now, yes, this is an LX model. It's about a $22,000 car. It's not the high end with the leather. It's not a V6. But it just seems that even the LX models of Accords, and I had an 87 LX Accord, I would say the quality of materials in my 1987 Honda Accord were actually superior to what they're passing in 2013 and 2014. Space? Yeah, it's got a lot of space. The prior generation of the Accord was actually larger than this car. This car, however, is roomier than its predecessor. And in the back seat, this is a car obviously more suited to families with kids than for commuters with having 4 or 5 full-grown adults in it. But even if you're using this as a commuter and you do have 4 or 5 adults in the back, it's actually quite spacious for all involved. Lots of headroom, lots of legroom in the back seat, so space, absolutely not a problem. Taking a look in the back, again, nothing too dramatic. It's a little bit of chrome to maybe give it a little bit of splash. And then it's a front-wheel drive car, and so front-wheel drive vehicles, by their nature, tend to have larger trunks than their rear-wheel drive counterparts, and that's no exception here. The trunk is actually very, very spacious. So as far as practicality goes, it's definitely a very practical car. It's roomy on the inside, spacious trunk in the back. Taking a look at the lines now, if you remember, the prior generation also had a similar kind of style line here. It was inverted to this, though. The style line actually went in, where on the 2013 and 2014 models it comes out. So it is similar, but it's also, I guess, a little bit different. They had a similar door handle concept before, and they maintained that theme. Again, kind of chrome here, but kind of machined down here. Overall, you know, it's just okay. Let's take a look inside. Now, one thing Honda does really well, and they've always done it really well, is the knobs. The knobs on the center console, as silly as that sounds, the buttons, everything as far as climate controls and everything like that, everything feels first class. I've never understood why other manufacturers have such a problem making these kinds of things feel like they're high quality. Honda has mastered that going back to forever. They have really great ideas about how to make really small things, but things that you use every day, feel like they're going to last forever and ever. They went to CVT now on the new generation of Accord. The CVT, which means continuously variable transmission, is one of the least popular transmission concepts that there is. I'll say this, there's two reasons why most brands go to CVT. One is that it does make for a less shifty experience. There's no actual gears happening. It's continuously variable. So under full throttle, you don't feel that boom, boom, boom going through the gears. It just kind of subtly modifies so that although it's not abrupt, it does give you a more sensation of elegance and comfort than a traditional transmission does, but at the expense of a lot of response. And so CVTs tend to be very slow. The other thing that CVTs they're nice for is that you can show a lot of horsepower and still get outstanding gas mileage. Now, like this car has 185 horsepower and 181 foot-pounds of torque, but it still gets 37 miles per gallon out on the open road and 30 miles per gallon combined driving between city and highway, which is fabulous for a car of this size with that kind of power. It's just when you drive it, it doesn't necessarily feel like 185 horsepower. It feels like about 145 horsepower, which is fine. It's obviously not a fast car, but again, it just kind of expands upon that adequate concept that this car seems to be about. The CVT, however, I'll say this is a much, much nicer CVT than any other car that I've driven. Our own brand, Infiniti, is partnered up with Nissan, of course, and Nissan has a lot of CVTs, and our JX crossover has a CVT. This is nicer than anything coming out of Nissan or Infiniti as far as CVTs go. The steering is nice. I've read a lot of reviews that say that the handling is a little bit hard and the car feels heavy and bumpy and the steering feels a little bit too heavy. But no, I don't feel that way at all. It actually handles very, very nicely. It's very nice out on the open road. I've read a lot of reviews that say the seat is uncomfortable. The seat itself is not uncomfortable. I mean, it feels just fine, but it's a little hard where your rear end is. It feels like if I was going to take this thing on a long drive, I would constantly be fidgeting in my seat trying to get comfortable. And if I was using this as a commuter and I was in my car a lot, I think that this particular chair would grow really annoying after not that long of a time. Stereo on this car is really nice. For a stock stereo, it's actually great. I don't understand the way that this does not have navigation, but even the navigation equipped cars have this screen like so far back here. I don't know what the logic is other than, that's what BMW does. They kind of have this twin hood kind of look. I have a 7 Series BMW and it looks a lot like this. And so maybe they were going for something that looked more elegant, but it's a lot of wasted space. Even though this car is roomier, by having all these knobs way out here and then this visual concept way back here, all this extra space could just be more space, but they elected not to do that and to bring all these buttons and knobs closer than maybe having them on the steering wheel or at a control down here, which would open up the interior quite a lot. It's a little bit busy, the gauges are a little bit plain. It's a good car. The quality is going to be sound. Hondas have a reputation that everybody else dreams of having. They do build a fabulous car. They have great resale value. And although the look of the Honda, I've panned quite a bit, but the look of every new body style Honda going back forever has always been a little bit like, it's not that edgy. However, they do age very gracefully. And so Hondas are a more popular car with heavier miles, 100,000 miles on them or something, because they do kind of keep a sophisticated look that other cars, maybe they're a little bit flashier when they're new, but they don't age quite as gracefully as the Honda. And I'll give Honda the benefit of the doubt that maybe this car will age gracefully as well. But overall, being a lifetime Honda Honda owner and a big fan of the product, I'm going to say this one is a swing and a miss. Yes, it's average for the category, but it's a car that I expect a lot more out of, and I think that moving forward, this is going to be the way Hondas look for the next 4 or 5 years. I think hopefully by the time the next generation Honda comes out, that they do decide to make something a little bit more ambitious and really think, you know what, let's take this thing in another direction. Good car, sure. Honda should be the absolute class leader, no doubt about it. Anything short of that, I would say, is a fail. If you have any questions about this car, please don't be afraid. Give me a call anytime. Joe Tunney here at Infiniti of Kirkland, 425-894-8230, or just drop me an email anytime at joet@infinitiofkirkland.com.